what are the keys for a successful marriage?
Yeah, I think that's, I think one of the most important decisions a young guy or woman can make is choosing the right partner, because, you're not going to be successful if you're married to someone that's crazy or hasn't worked through their stuff. I mean, one of the things that I work with on my clients is working on themselves. And, when you're in a relationship and you work on yourself, the energy between you and your partner starts to shift. So a lot of times in many relationships, there's a projection of that person's inner pain or turmoil or trauma, and it gets projected on the other person. So a lot of times in relationships, it's about working on your own self and improving yourself and working through your own challenges and your own traumas and your own stresses. And once you do that, then the other person's feels your energy shift and their energy starts to shift. But I think it has to work both ways. Like the other person has to be all in on working on themselves as well. So for what's worked with my wife and I is she's given me the space to work on my stuff, and she's got stuff too. And I've given her the space to work on her stuff. And then, there's a mutual respect that we each have for each other. And then we also, we like doing similar activities. Like we like RVing, for example. We like to take trips and an RV. We love dogs. I mean, if I met her and she hated dogs and I love dogs, and she, loved cats and I hated cats, chances are, she wouldn't want to get a dog and I wouldn't want to get a cat. So little things like that, like having, before you make a decision to marry someone, make sure you get that out on paper, what you want your life to look like. So for example, if you're with someone that wants 10 kids and you're on the fence about having kids, then chances are you shouldn't marry that person. You should,
Yeah.
you should have some things carved out before you enter into because it's a lifelong business arrangement. It's a lifelong marriage. I mean, most people that go through financial issues, the two causes are bankruptcy in business and divorce. People don't talk about that side of it. And there's a lot of times, just for an example, a man will look outside his wife, say, for an affair or something, and when a lot of it's nothing to do with who he's married to. It's to do with his own stuff. So he's using an affair to deal with his own painful stuff. So I think the biggest takeaway that I would tell people on relationship stuff is work on yourself, and the one, and then second is make sure you pick the person that's on the same page as you with some key points, how you want your life to see in terms of like number of kids, where you're going to live, how many hours you're going to work, or some people like to, for example, my wife and I, if we work corporate jobs, I don't think we'd be as happy as we are. We work together and we spend a lot of time with each other, but other people that may not work for them. So I think having a clear understanding of what your life is going to look like before you get married, and then also work on yourself before you get married and even while you're married. Like it's not a 1 year thing. It's a long-term journey to work on your stuff. And if you think all your stuff's worked out, then chances are you're living, like you mentioned earlier, you're living from the ego and you're not in touch with your heart. If you're not in touch with your heart, then your relationship's definitely not going to work. So I think having the humbleness to realize that we're always going to have something that's going to come up in our life, and to keep working through that. And it doesn't mean you always have to have a mentor. It could mean working through it on your own. In a lot of cases, it helps to have mentors that are older and that have more experience, because again, you can model some of their behaviors and save yourself a lot of heartache. Like, just so for someone listening to this that's on the fence about getting married, this might save them, a future divorce. Like, no, just a couple of those. Like, it's simple advice, but it can be profound in how your life turns out.